Hi, good afternoon. My name is Amber Liu. I'm a family nurse practitioner with the Special Delivery Department here at Kaiser Permanente. This is my nurse administrator interview for Nursing 750, Leadership and Management of a Healthcare System. Today I will be interviewing my manager, Mary Kawasaki. She is a pediatric nurse practitioner, a very seasoned one at that, and currently a manager now with Kaiser Permanente. She is actually in charge of the Pediatric Population Management Department as well as lactation services and pediatric developmental clinic. Okay, so here we go. Thank you. Alrighty, I'm here with Mary Kawasaki. Can you please give us your title and tell us a little bit about your current job position as well as your responsibilities?
I am currently the supervisor for Pediatric Population Management, which is a very, very small department consisting of lactation services, special delivery program, and developmental services. But also, as part of my job, I am the co-lead with the Chief of Pediatrics for all quality measures in the region of Hawaii.
That's great. Now tell us a little bit about your nursing background and some previous leadership roles or responsibilities, as well as where you graduated from nursing school.
Okay, I graduated from Indiana University in Indianapolis. I got my bachelor's degree and my master's degree there. I started my career basically as a student nurse, because in Indiana University you could work as a student nurse in the hospitals while you were going through school. You could do that after you started your junior year. So after I started my junior year, I started working at the Riley Children's Hospital on weekends, and then continued that. Even after I graduated, I worked there in the neonatal intensive care unit. So I started there, moved to Hawaii in 1980, worked at Kapiolani Children's Medical Center on a grant project called the Family Centered Care Program. That lasted for 3 years. Then I worked an additional 2 years for the Public Health Department in a similar program. And then in 1985 got a job here at Kaiser Permanente as a nurse practitioner, and I've been here for 30 years. Leadership, I just recently stepped into what you call an official supervisory role, but I believe as a nurse practitioner within the organization, I was a leader for very many years.
So tell us again, how many years of service have you had with Kaiser Permanente?
With Kaiser, I've been here 30 years now.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, now what type of leader do you consider yourself in your current role?
What type of leader?
Yeah.
What type of leader? I would have to say that similar to what I was previously, I'm a leader who leads by example. I try to do things, try to show things by doing them, by showing leadership, by volunteering to do projects. So basically that's the type of leader I am. I'm not a forceful leader. I don't push on things. I try to make sure everybody knows the why behind the different changes that we have to do within Kaiser. So mainly it's I like to think I lead by example.
Great. Do you think being a nurse practitioner has helped you in your current role, since you lead nurse practitioners as well and manage a nurse practitioner department?
Most definitely. I feel if you are going to be supervising or leading nurse practitioners, you need that experience. Nobody knows what a nurse practitioner has to deal with unless you've walked in their shoes. So very much so, I believe it's very important to have that experience.
Okay, good point. How has your leadership style changed compared to your previous roles? Do you think anything has changed in your style of leading, or have you made any improvements to it, would you say, since now stepping into this management role?
I think I've had to rein in behaviors that may not have been addressed in the past, or feel like I have to explain things to people who may have been working independently prior to my taking this leadership position. So it's kind of different in that you have to level set with people that you haven't had to level set before, simply because you are now their supervisor or responsible for whatever departments that they are overseeing.
Oh, good point. What are your passions, and how does that drive your motivation in your current profession or role?
Passions for nursing?
Yeah.
Ever since I started nursing, I've been passionate about pediatrics. It's always something that I've wanted to do. From the very beginning, when I was in college, I used to work at summer camps as a camp counselor during, in between the years of nursing school. So always knew I wanted to work in pediatrics.
Oh, great. Now, I always ask this because you are a mom of 3 girls and a wife as well. So how are you successful in managing your family as well as your career life coincidingly?
I don't know if I'm always successful. I like to think I do okay job. It's very easy now that all my children are young adults. When they were very young, when I was having kids and I was working with Kaiser, it was successful in that I took the time to balance out work and family life. In other words, I did not work full-time hours for Kaiser, and tried to specifically take half days and work with them with school projects or Girl Scouts or whatever.
Oh, so. Wonderful. Okay, our next question is, what type of obstacles or challenges as a leader have you encountered in this current management position that you have? And maybe share us a couple of examples that you know of that you've had encountered.
I think one of the things I was not prepared for in taking this role as a supervisor is all the human resource requirements for documenting different things, all the time that goes into doing timesheets, the requirements for setting vacation time, requirements that certain contracts require for their members to achieve, or goals for their members to achieve. That's been basically the problem. Also, not knowing in the organization who it is you're supposed to vet things through, or who in the organization is responsible for certain things like policies, procedures. That has been kind of frustrating. There's been lots of changes within our organization, and sometimes the people you thought were in charge of a certain process are no longer in charge. And it's difficult to find out who it is you're supposed to talk to get things started or get things through. One of the things I was not prepared for is all the discussion with physicians regarding quality measures and how to achieve them. It's sometimes difficult to convince them what the best way is to do things. So that's one of the challenges I've had. But I would say the overall challenge is all the requirements that human resources requires us to do as managers and supervisors.
Well, further along, what types of tools or techniques have you used to find the solutions to these problems or challenges?
I don't know if I found anything that really works, other than searching for things through our Kaiser intranet as to, is there a department that's in charge of this? Who are the point persons? Asking around other supervisors, and managers who've been here longer than I have, or are higher in the organizational tree than I am, who it is I should talk to, who it is I should vet things through. So I guess that's basically what I've tried to do to navigate the knowledge deficit that I've had.
So what I'm hearing is you've kind of been able to build your playbook, so to say, based on your experiences.
Yes, I think you would say that. I mean, I've gathered lots of information along the way. I keep it in a book, you know, to refer to. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of information to know, and a lot of people that you have to collaborate with.
Okay. What are some characteristics or traits that you find in yourself that makes you successful as a leader?
I'm tenacious. I do not let things go, which can be kind of detrimental in some instances, but I'm going to, you know, keep talking to people and keep pushing until I get a final answer. And in some instances that will take months of weekly emails to people. Hey, how are we doing on this? When are we going to get this resolved? When are you going to get back to me? You said you were going to get back to me at this date. I haven't heard from you yet. So it's a lot of being tenacious and keeping going, keep after those people that are supposed to get back to you and give you an answer.
It sounds like you also have good communication skills. Would you say that's one of your strengths as well?
I would not say that. I am frequently misinterpreted on emails. So I have learned if somebody is asking me for something and I email them and it doesn't seem like to go through, it's better for me to call them in person. I have found that email is not the best communication tool for somebody of my generation. Simply because of the way we phrase things may seem derogatory, or you're trying to scold somebody when you're actually not trying to scold somebody. So it's communication is an evolving thing within the technology that we have today. So
it sounds like sometimes it can hinder your job.
Very much so, very much so.
With these technology tools that we have nowadays.
I don't think, I have a feeling that I am misunderstood, and I definitely misunderstand other people reading their emails. So I have learned which people it is I really need to call and talk to them in person to explain things or to get their feedback on.
Oh, good point. Who is one leader or role model that you look up to, and what are some things that you can name off as to why you think that they're successful as your role model?
There was, and I don't know if this role model is here in the state. Here, they're no longer here in Kaiser, but they were a Kaiser member before. Her name is DJ Mailer. She started out many years ago at Kapiolani Children's Medical Center as a supervisor. Then she moved to the Shriners Orthopedic, became the nursing supervisor there, and eventually found herself here at Kaiser. She was our CEO for the health plan for many, many years. She was a nurse. She was a master's. She's a clinical nurse specialist in maternal child health nursing. She was very passionate about healthcare. She was very passionate about Kaiser and Kaiser's mission. Way back, I think she was our CEO in the 90s, late 80s to 90s. She left Kaiser to take care of her family for a few years, and then returned as the director of Kamehameha schools during the time when they were having issues with admissions of non-Native Hawaiian students. So she was the CEO or the chief executive officer or president or whatever she was of Kamehameha schools at that time. And I think she's still on the board of Kamehameha schools, but I don't think she's currently their president or leader. But she was a very smart, adept female leader within the community.
Oh, okay. If you could go back and review your challenges, what's one thing that you think that you're most proud of overcoming in this role, that you feel like you've made an impact since taking on that leadership hat?
The biggest challenge was deciding to return after my position was eliminated in 2007. It was a very difficult decision to make, but the thing that made it easier was I was asked by our current chief of pediatrics to return and to help rebuild the program. I think I'm most proud of rebuilding the special delivery program. At that time it was going to be eliminated, and the pediatrics department chose to keep the program going and envelope it into the pediatrics department instead of the inpatient obstetrics, maternity obstetrics department. So I think I'm most proud of redesigning that program and bringing it into compliance with HIPAA and coding issues.
Okay. Now we're going on futuristic things, like what type of advice would you give up-and-coming nurses who are aspiring to achieve leadership roles? What would you tell them in a nutshell? What are some things that you have learned?
I have learned that if you're going to be in a management position within nursing, you really need to take business courses related to human resources. You need to know all the federal and state laws regarding human resources. That's very important these days. You also need to take courses, I would say, in health management. There are so many people that are responsible in healthcare organizations who simply have a business degree in health management, but do not have any real experience in delivering care. They're not nurses, they're not physicians, they're not physician's assistants, they're not nurse practitioners. They've never given direct patient care, yet they are responsible for directing you in how to give health care. They are responsible for current metrics, for coding, for billing, yet they have no experience with what happens face to face. So I think it's really important for nursing supervisors and nursing managers to get that business acumen behind them so that they can do both. They'll be a better position to not only see where the patient is coming from, what the patient has is seeing on their part, but also to transfer and translate that information into business metrics.
So it sounds like you're saying that some of these disciplines just aren't able to mesh with one another, almost communicate in the same language.
Exactly. There's a very different communication going between what nursing and medicine in, which is more of an art and a feeling, and translating that into the business metrics, which is very calculating and scientific.
So final question. So do you think this happens, this is one area of improvement within Kaiser organization, or do you think that it happens everywhere and it's an endless revolving door, so to say?
I think it's happening everywhere in healthcare. You see articles where there is a big disconnect between what nurses and physicians want to do for the patient versus what they are allowed to do based on how the health plans pay for certain items.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mary, for sharing us all your wonderful thoughts.
Thank you.